pressed powders have... Wow, this is going really well. Hey guys, it's Rushi, and today we are talking about powders. So if you want to learn about the difference between pressed and loose powder, then keep on watching. And don't forget to press the like button if you want to see more videos like this. Definitely subscribe if you want to see more videos from Adore Beauty. The difference between pressed and loose powder is that pressed powders come in compacts just like this one here. And loose powders come in jars or containers just like this one. Basically, the difference in terms of formula is that loose powders are much more finely milled, so they're gonna be really silky on the skin, whereas pressed powders are going to be much more thicker milled. What do they call it? Oh my gosh, I have a fluff on my nose. Pressed powders have more pigment, and they're definitely going to be more of a foundation base, so that they're pretty much going to give you more coverage. That's pretty much the difference between pressed and loose powders. So let's talk about pressed powders and how you can use them, the pros and cons, etc, etc. I'm going to start with the M.A.C Studio Fix pressed powder, and I'm just going to use a fluffy brush just like this. And I just find the best way to apply a pressed powder is that you just tap into the product, tap off the excess, and just pat into the skin just like so. And you can choose to just buff as well. That's my favorite way to do it. You can also use sponges. These powders in particular come with a little sponge. Mine is putrid, love that for me. I usually press the sponge into the powder and then pat it into the skin. So that's how I like to use pressed powder. You can also use it just to set T-zone areas, but I would more so use loose powder for that. Pressed powders can also come in a wide shade range so that you can choose the color that's suitable for you. They're great for people that are on the go all the time and need something to just quickly touch up. They're also really good for travel because they are usually in this really sleek packaging. Cons is that if you are on the drier side, you may experience that it will cling to dry areas. However, the M.A.C Studio Fix is really quite on the luminous side, or natural to luminous, so it can actually give you that nice veil of luminosity on the skin. However, it's more so common that you will experience more of a matte China doll kind of finish to the skin. Now let's talk about loose powder. I love the RCMA No Colour loose powder. This is so finely milled. It's like blurring. It's like a blur. It's like a filter. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It is like a blurred filter for your skin. I absolutely love this loose powder, and loose powder in general will do that for you. Just make sure that it is really finely milled so that it doesn't feel really drying under the eye. There are some loose powders that can do that. However, for the most part, a lot of loose powders are going to be great for all skin types. The way I personally love to use loose powder is, I'm saying loose powder so much, so sorry for that. I love to just dip my damp beauty sponge into the powder and just press it or pat it or bounce under the eye, and then leave it there for a split second, because I don't like leaving powders under the eye area for too long because it will give you that kind of crepey, dry look, which we do not want. You just want it to sit there enough so that it can give you that longevity for your concealer and make sure that it prevents any creasing as well. I just dust that away and you really are left with a poreless finish. So loose powders, so good. This one in particular, I just don't like the packaging. I wish it was in a more manageable jar just because it is a little bit of a pain to get out. You can get tinted versions of your loose powder, so banana or beige, and that just really adds a slight, like minuscule amount of coverage, or it adds that really nice Kardashian brightened under eye area, highlighted, contoured, you know, the whole shebang. So that's what they'll do for you, whereas I usually go for a translucent no color powder because it's just the easiest. Plus, it does still give you that slight brightening appeal to the skin, but it's not crazy. Loose powders are not the best to travel with because they're usually a little bit on the clunkier side. Like you can see here, this is obviously a little bit bigger, but if you are an avid loose powder fan, then it won't be an issue for you. Oh, tips. Let's talk about tips. What I love about using a pressed powder for is just simply patting it in as almost like your concealer over your foundation. That sounds bizarre, but it just adds that slight amount of coverage without feeling uncomfortable on the skin. So I would just grab like a slightly dense fluffy brush like so, pat it in, and then just press it onto the area you're wanting to cover the most. I just wiped my lipstick on that, great. There are so many uses for loose powder. It is silky for one, so it blurs and gets rid of any pores. It also is great, now this might scare some of you, it is fantastic for increasing the longevity of your foundation in terms of oil control. So if you apply loose powder on a sponge and just press it into the skin before your liquid foundation, I promise you, you are going to see incredible results in terms of longevity. First of all, your foundation is going to look so flawless all day. Second of all, oil control is snatched, like done, no oil all day. It's incredible. And it sounds crazy because you're putting a powder on before a liquid, but it works. Anyway, so there's that, and then you can also use it as like an eraser. What I mean by that is if you're using loose pigments or if you're using eyeshadows that are really messy and you know they're gonna fall out under your eye area, pack on some loose powder underneath the eye area as your base, I guess. Any of that eyeshadow that falls down onto the powder, you can just grab your fluffy brush and sweep it away and it's like nothing happened. Brilliant, so good, lifesaver. Downside to loose powders or powders in general is that if you are on the drier side, you may experience some creping. Sorry, there's some construction going on beneath us. Let's just give it a minute. So the thing is with, what was I saying? Be careful with loose powder because it can emphasize dry patches. Sometimes with loose powder or powder in general, it can feel a little on the uncomfortable side if you do have drier skin. However, normal combination and oily skin types, you're going to love the finish of loose powder or pressed powder, and it's just gonna give you that flawless, blurred, mattified finish. So if that's you, or if you have any other tips that you love to use powder for, definitely let us know down in the comments below. All in all, pressed powder is brilliant for those who wanna just quickly touch up on the go. You want that nice mattified finish, or you're just wanting a light coverage. That is the best thing about pressed powder. If you are more on the drier side or normal, or if you just want some mattification on your T-zone area, go with loose powder. Or if you have enlarged pores, another great way to reduce those is loose powder as well. I hope that you learned a thing or two about pressed powders and loose powders, and now you know what the difference is. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and be safe.